Welcome back to the program. So I put a couple more extras up there in the best of section. I think I got to R, and so I'll work on some more on those. But I wanted to talk about the fact that the tariffs are doing some interesting things, especially when it comes to China. What if I told you that with the tariffs in place, 145%, it actually affects Temu and, quite frankly, makes it much harder for Americans to buy cheap Chinese junk? What did I talk about in my book? In Preserving Liberty, I talk about in the China Syndrome chapter. I talk about Temu. And I talk about how Temu has taken over 17% of the US market share. That's unbelievable. And they can sell products 70, 75, sometimes 80% less than you can buy them anywhere else. And it's very simple, the reason. Because they're not paying any labor cost. It is all slave labor in the Xinjiang province of northwest China by the Uyghur Muslims. Okay? All of that is in Preserving Liberty. And so anytime you purchase something from Temu, you're paying for child labor, for slave labor. And it's pretty disgusting. And so in my book, I talk about different ways to shame companies for selling Chinese products. I even tell that you have to have a certain section in the store that's labeled Chinese made products. They have to have tariffs on them. They've got to be more money, all that good stuff. Well, President Trump may not have read my book, but he's certainly implementing some of the things that are doing much more protectionist type of policies that I talked about in Preserving Liberty. And by an interesting byproduct of the tariffs, Temu is suffering greatly. Listen to this. Temu Online Marketplace has halted shipments from China to the United States as President Trump closes a loophole and extends tariffs. Online retailer Temu is blocking U.S. customers from buying items from China and sellers now that they see those items come with a 145% tariff attached. How wonderful of a development is this? I've been saying for years that in order for us to get rid of these Chinese products, we've got to make it really expensive for U.S. consumers to continue to buy them so that they will naturally choose other items that are less money that are made in America, or if not America, at least anywhere but China, right? Well, that's kind of what the tariffs are doing. What was known as the de minimis rule on foreign goods expired on Friday, according to CNBC. Under that rule, items valued of $800 or less were exempt from duties and tariffs. President Donald Trump ended that policy loophole, saying that the step was necessary to address the flow of drugs coming into America. President Trump is targeting deceptive shipping practices by Chinese-based shippers, many of whom hide illicit substances such as drugs and opiates, synthetic opiates, low-value packaging to exploit the de minimis exemption, the White House said in a press conference. It's a big scam going on against our country, against really small businesses in general, President Trump said during a Wednesday cabinet meeting, according to the New York Slimes. And we have ended that. We've put an end to that. With the exemption gone, Temu at first said that it would raise prices for Americans, but now simply lists items that would be shipped from Chinese sellers as out of stock. A Temu representative claimed that local sellers will now fill orders from within the country. Temu has been actively recruiting U.S. sellers to join their platform, the representative said. The move is designed to help local merchants reach more customers and grow their businesses, the representative added. However, CNBC noted that Temu had been building up inventory of Chinese-made products in the United States as tariff tensions and the removal of the de minimis loophole loomed. So there you go. There's another added benefit of the tariffs. Hopefully, the end of Temu, at least in the United States of America. Next. So a lot of people are talking about President Trump 2028. He's selling hats, he's selling T-shirts. I mean, they're mostly sold out. I mean, honestly, if you go to the Trump.com website, they're pretty much sold out. You can probably buy cheap knockoffs somewhere online, but these 2028 originals, they're already sold out because everybody is wanting them and everybody is trying to buy them up. But as I said before, and I'm strongly against him running a third term because it's not about him. It's not about his term. It's about, God forbid, we open up this Pandora's box and in the future some Democrat leftist decides to say, well, hey, I've had 2 terms to ruin the country. Let me have another third term just like President Trump did. I don't want that, okay? I don't want that. So I am vehemently opposed to President Trump running for a third term. I think J.D. Vance, as the next runner-up, would do a phenomenal job. He would, of course, have a great economy served to him on a silver platter, with the apple in the mouth of the pig and ready to eat, right? And all he has to do is basically say, if you elect me president, I'll continue Trump's policies. Should be a slam dunk, as a matter of fact. And so I would much rather see that than them trying to do some type of legal maneuvering or whatever to try to open up a third term. I know Bannon's been talking about it and all this and that, but I'm against it. And apparently, thankfully, President Trump has come out and said he's against it too. Okay? So here is what he said to this idiot, Kirsten Welker. I don't know why he allows even these left-wing idiots to even interview him. It makes no sense. I know he likes to do it because it makes him look good because he absolutely crushes them. But why even give them the time? Why even give them the time? Why not interview with the Gateway Pundit or Kane from Citizen Free Press or me or Tucker or, Breitbart or, the War Room, anybody other than, Kirsten Welker and these left-wing hacks. So anyway, here's what, when she asked about a third term, here's what he said.
Are you seriously considering a third term, Mr. President, even though it's prohibited by the Constitution, or is this about staying politically viable?
I will say this. So many people want me to do it. Mm-hmm. I have never had requests so strong as that. But it's something that, to the best of my knowledge, you're not allowed to do. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's constitutional that they're not allowing you to do it or anything else, but there are many people selling the 2028 hat. But this is not something I'm looking to do. I'm looking to have 4 great years and turn it over to somebody, ideally a great Republican to carry it forward. But I think we're going to have 4 years, and I think 4 years is plenty of time to do something really spectacular.
Are you?
So there you go. From the horse's mouth. He's not running for a third term. So we can talk about it as a troll, and that's fine. I wouldn't even do that because all it does is lead to the left's fake narrative that he's a dictator. Oh, look, he wants to run indefinitely for a third term, maybe a fourth term, maybe a fifth term. So he is that dictator that we warned you about. We don't need that narrative out there either. So again, I don't like it. I hope he shuts down a lot of that talk, but President Trump is President Trump. Now, I got to tell you, I am so impressed with Marco Rubio. When he was announced as Secretary of State, I was like, oh my God, why would you pick a rhino like that to be Secretary of State? Not to mention, he was even considered for VP. As a matter of fact, it was down to Doug Burgum, Marco Rubio, and J.D. Vance. And I think that the left, was going to love a Marco Rubio, right? Because he was always known as a rhino when he was in the Senate. But the base said, hell no, you can't pick him. We know him as a rhino. However, as a senator, he might have been more of a rhino. But as Secretary of State, wow, he's been impressive. Okay, he really, truly has. His knowledge, his depth, his preciseness, his articulation, his no BS. I mean, he knows exactly what President Trump's agenda is in foreign policy. He doesn't deviate from it. He just exercises it 100%. And so President Trump has put a lot of trust in Marco Rubio, so much so that now he's been sworn in as the interim national security advisor until they pick a permanent one. But not just that, he is also, let's see, the U.S. Aid Administrator, and he's also the U.S. Archivist Administrator, too, on top of being Secretary of State. This man holds 4 positions of power in the Trump administration. That is putting a lot of, power into one person's hands, but more importantly, it's putting trust into one person's hand, and Marco Rubio has certainly earned it in these 100 days. So I don't want to see him be the national security advisor forever. I think, there's going to be some better candidates that'll come about, in due time. But, hey, in the meantime, foreign policy is phenomenal. So wanted to point that out. Now, let's talk about this. You probably have heard this. This is not new news, but I think it's just a good reminder of who the left is behind, and this kill more Burritos Garcia, the Maryland dad, the Maryland father, the Maryland man who's an upstanding citizen and, doesn't hang around with terrorists and gangbangers and all this other horrible lies that the media has told you, including now saying that the MS-13 tattoos on his hand are somehow doctored. I don't think so, okay? They have been documented in 3 separate arrest records. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, number 1. The Tennessee State Troopers, number 2. Maryland Police, number 3. And, of course, ICE, number 4. As a matter of fact, his detention certificate to bring him in has the tattoos in it, as well as all the others. Not to mention 3, maybe 4 judges have documented him and those tattoos as being legitimate, real, and MS-13. So there's nothing fabricated about that. There's no hoax about that. He is a full-fledged gang member and member of MS-13. And even his ex-wife's ex-husband or partner or whatever was worried that his wife, who became his ex-wife, was going to be murdered and killed because she was dating an MS-13 gang member. That came out just a few days ago. But here is a reminder of how violent this, quote, Maryland dad truly is.
I came to fill out a protective order. I think it was in December. But I didn't show up to the court because his family, washed my brain telling me that his dad was sick and not to do it. So I didn't do anything. But after that, it was I would call the police. I have a lot of police reports. And I kept trying to get to the door basement to try to open the door, and then he pushed me. So then when I was able to go outside to get a phone, I called 911 from a disconnected phone. Now they took a long time to get to the house. It was probably 20, 30 minutes. So I saw a neighbor walking his dog, and I opened the door and I was like, help. And then when he heard me, he grabbed me from my hair and then he slapped me. And then the neighbor, he didn't know what to do. He didn't know what to react. I have pictures of the evidence, all the bruises, because even on Wednesday, he hit me around 3 in the morning. He would just wake up and hit me. And then last Saturday for my daughter's birthday party, before I went to my daughter's birthday party, he slapped me 3 times. And then last week I did call the police. My sister called the police because he hit me in front of my sister.
So there you go. There's the wonderful, upstanding Father of the Year, citizen number 1 out there in America that the Democrats want to coddle and bring back to our shores. I don't think so. Not going to happen. All right. Last thing I'm going to leave you with is some pretty interesting announcements. This is the type of money that has already been allocated and promised into the U.S. economy in the first 100 days. I'll go quick, but I'll go through it pretty fast. So let's see. You have SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, $500 million. You have NVIDIA, $500 billion. You have NVIDIA, $500 billion. Apple, $500 billion. IBM, $150 billion. TSMC, that is the semiconductors out in Phoenix. Not real happy about that, but whatever. That's the Taiwan manufacturing industry. 100 billion. Johnson & Johnson, 55 billion. Genentech, 50 billion. Eli Lilly and Company, 27 billion. ADQ and Energy Capital Partners, 25 billion. Novartis, 23 billion. Hyundai, 21 billion. DMAC Properties, which is real estate, 20 billion. OMA OGM, which is transportation and logistics, 20 billion. Venture Global, 18 billion. AbbVie Pharmaceuticals, 10 billion. Merck, 9 billion. Clarios Energy and Environment, 6 billion. Stellantis Manufacturing, 5 billion. Novellus, 4.1 million manufacturing. Amazon, 4 billion. Regeneron Pharmaceuticals, 3 billion. Boeing Aircraft, 3 billion. Northmark Strategies, 2.8 billion. Thermo Fisher Scientific, that's pharmaceuticals as well, 2 billion. Chobani, which is manufacturing, 1.7 billion. Corning, 1.5 billion. Anduril Defense, 1 billion. GE Aerospace, 1 billion. Amgen, 900 million. Schneider Electric, 700 million. GE, 600 million. AIP Management, that's technology, 500 million. Abbott Labs, pharmaceuticals, 500 million. Diageo, which is food and beverage, 415 million. The Bell Group, food and beverage, 350 million. Eaton Corporation, manufacturing, 340 million. Siemens, technology, 285 million. Clayton Quality Chocolates, 230 million. Fiserv, technology and AI, 175 million. Paris Baguette, food and beverage, 160 million. TS Conductor, manufacturing, 134 million. ABB, manufacturing, 120 million. Seika Group, 110 million. Charms LLC, 97.7 million. Toyota Motor Corporation, 88 million. Cygene International, 36.5 million. Asahi Group Holdings, food and beverage, 35 million. Sicilic Materials, 20 million, energy. Guardian Bikes, 19 million, manufacturing. And LGM Pharma, 6 million, pharma as well. That's just in the first 100 days, okay? There are trillions upon trillions of dollars coming into this economy, and I can't wait for the golden age to begin, and it's going to start by the end of this year, and watch out for 2026. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.